I recently attended the 30-30-30 webinar you hosted with Peer 39 and want to ask you both. What do you say to clients who want to address brand safety by implementing an inclusion-only model, such as only running on the Trade Desk Sellers and Publishers 500 or the ComSport Top 100 domains? You can assume the client's budget is not so large that they would not be able to scale their campaigns, but is this an overreaction to the risk of negative exposure, assuming that risk is higher in the long tail of the internet?
I think in certain situations, inclusion lists are completely valid. It's human nature to want to go after the familiar. So we want to buy those publishers that are known to us and more widely known. So definitely think that definitely makes sense. But there's a few things to consider. Premium doesn't necessarily mean safe, it doesn't necessarily mean suitable, and it doesn't necessarily mean quality. I think premium publishers have safe, suitable, and quality content, but in those different buckets, if you're just targeting a top line publisher for the sake of that, you're going to run into those problems, right? Because premium publishers, they produce a myriad of content, whether that's sports, whether that's news, whether that's opinionated content, all usually typically fall under that premium publisher arc. And then from there, you run into that suitability issue of what is right and suitable for a particular advertiser. I think you also have the quality. There's a lot of premium publishers who run into or walk against that line of MFA and AI development of content, right? And so you want to be able to navigate that. So I think still setting up a suitability framework is going to be really, really important. On the second piece, I think premium also doesn't necessarily mean relevant, right? So you want to be able to target relevant or get relevant content that aligns with what your campaign and KPIs are going to be. There are niche publications that are going to be able to speak directly to the advertiser or to the campaign that you're running, and you don't want to overlook those because there's going to be the performance back there. Kyle, what do you think? Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think oftentimes we do fall into the, we see it happen quite frequently of falling into the familiar bucket of things of going, these are publishers I'm familiar with, I'm going to apply an allow list and just kind of cut out all the rest of the inventory just based on your familiarity with it. And I think, running into that what is premium conversation is a whole different bucket of items, I feel like, on my end, because it's incredibly subjective, right, to the client, the goal, and what is suitable for those people. From there, I think, being open to discovering a new way of doing this and looking at something, that's a little bit deeper than just the primary URL structure, and being able to kind of ensure that you're clearing out the content within that entire infrastructure. So not just the primary web page, but everything that's subsequently below that from a URL perspective and page content level. And then I think too, what happens from a geo perspective, if you have a brand or client who's more regional based or things of that nature, applying, this level of block up front can actually hamper any delivery to spend. It can make your costs way higher than they need to be, artificially inflating either your CPA or CPMs, things of that nature. And
so if your budget is a problem already, right, and you have a smaller advertiser and you think that this is going to solve a problem, then we might be making that budget problem worse than it needs to be.
Yeah, and I think this leaves you a flexible option to ensure that when we're applying safety and suitability categories or keyword structures, and then marrying that with, again, I always say the reporting on the back end is super beneficial to understand, oh, hey, this URL actually really isn't doing me any favors, let's go ahead and block those out and using it again more tactfully than just trying to block out a potential long tail that actually really may help your brand.
Yeah, all valid points. Well, Kyle, thank you for having me again. If any other questions come along, please send them my way. I love chatting with you guys.
No, we appreciate it so much. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.